Have you ever taken time off training? You rest, you recover, and then you come back, and yet your body still feels tight. Or sometimes even worse, there's actually, and this is really common, and it confuses a lot of people because the assumption is if I rest, my body should feel better. But that's not always how it works. Most people think tightness means one thing. They think, and it's pretty obvious here, I need to stretch more. Maybe I didn't rest or recover enough. I just need to take a few more days off. But a lot of the time, what's actually happening is tightness isn't actually a flexibility issue. What's really happening is it's your body's way of creating tension for a reason. And it's not random. And it's not because you're getting older. It's because something isn't working properly. So instead of thinking, what do I need to do to loosen it up? You need to start asking, what's not doing its job? And stay with me here because I'll give you a few examples because this is where people usually start to understand it. So if your hamstrings are always tight, well, a lot of the time it's not because they're short, it's because your hips aren't doing what they're supposed to. So your body creates tension to stabilize it. Same thing with the calves. People are constantly stretching their calves, but if your ankles don't move well, your body is going to create that tension again. Shoulders are another big one. People feel tight through the shoulders and the neck, but it's usually positioning control and how they're actually moving, not just something that needs to be stretched. So what happens is you feel tight, you stretch it, usually it feels better temporarily, but then it comes right back again. And it's because you didn't change the reason it was tight in the first place. Now here's where it starts to become a bigger issue. You go back to training, everything still isn't moving well enough. But now you start loading it. So your body has to compensate even more. Creates more tension, creates more restriction, and eventually, that's when people start to feel and start dealing with pain. And this is why a lot of people feel like they're doing everything right. They're training, they're resting, they're stretching, this constant loop, but nothing is really changing because they're always addressing the symptom, not the cause. So the way I look at it, and it's pretty simple, if something in your body always feels tight, especially after rest, well, that's information. And it's telling you something isn't working the way it should. And until that gets addressed, your body is going to keep going back to the same pattern. And that's why I always start by looking at how somebody moves. Not just where they're feeling something, but what's actually happening and leading into it. Because once you identify that, now you can actually start to change something. But until then, you're kind of guessing. Excuse me. So if you're someone who feels like no matter what they do, you're always feeling tight in the same areas, well, it's not necessarily a recovery issue. There's something usually underneath that's driving that. And once you find it, well, everything starts to make sense.